Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club Podcast, where every week me and Miss Boo take turns picking films to watch and talk about. Some are good, some are bad, and some are brand new this month at the Film Club. So, Boo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Today is the last day of Newvember.
It is.
Which means tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Something like that.
Yeah, I can't believe the month's already over, but I'm excited to eat, and I'm more excited to talk about our film today.
Yeah, this movie we're talking about today is going off of your Studio Ghibli kick.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I can't say I was surprised you picked this one, but I'm curious as to why you picked this one.
Because Totoro is just so cute.
Just so cute?
It's so cute. So if you didn't get it from our title, our episode today is about My Neighbor Totoro, which debuted in 1988, which was redubbed in 2006?
I think so.
I think that's the version that we watched.
Yeah, I didn't watch the subtitled version. We watched the 2006 English dub.
With Dakota and Elle Fanning.
And, I want to say that this movie is a little, it's a little different than the other Miyazaki films we've seen on the podcast so far.
Yeah, this movie was a lot lighter than Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away. But
I think this was about as light as Kiki's Delivery Service, but this was, I don't want to say not as interesting, because it was still a good movie. It just, I don't know. I watched this kind of later in the day, and I was kind of getting ready for bed, and I was putting it on. And I legitimately thought when the movie ended, did I fall asleep during this? And I rewound it and I looked through it again. I'm like, no, I watched the whole thing.
That's how I felt when I watched it too. I thought, really? That's it? There's nothing else? And then there's nothing during the credits, like Kiki's Delivery Service. You kind of get like an update onto, her adventures. But with My Neighbor Totoro, it just ends.
Yeah.
And we go into,
it just stops.
We go into, the cute, Totoro song, but it was just like, I want more. I want to see, what happens next.
I don't know if I was that, oh man, I'm really mad this is over and I really wanted more. I was fine with it. It's just, I could tell this is way more in line of a film for smaller children.
Yeah.
Than something like Spirited Away, which, yeah, you can argue that is a kid's movie, but there is more there than like a Disney film. This felt more along the lines of Alice in Wonderland with a twist at a certain point. When the little girl's Mia, I think, is teleported to the world with Totoro and goes through the rabbit hole in the tree or whatever. That felt very Alice in Wonderland-y to me.
Yeah, and we're also kind of seeing, the beginning of Miyazaki's film career with Totoro and Spirited Away, which was in 2001. So it's kind of interesting to see the progression from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, he had done stuff before this. I think his first film was Castle Cagliostro, the Lupin film. And it is interesting to see where him as an artist is at this point. He said it was heavily autobiographical of his life, because when he was younger, his mother suffered from some sort of illness that meant she was in the hospital for a long time. And then we had the two little girls. They move out. That's the same thing as Miyazaki, to be closer to the mother. And it does feel like a personal story, and there are the fantastical elements in the film.
Yeah.
First thing is the little house sprite things.
The suit sprites?
Yeah.
I was so excited to see them.
To see them make a comeback.
This is actually their first appearance.
Okay, to see them again.
To see them again, yes. So I was very excited to see the suit gremlins in this movie. And I just love that Miyazaki films really kind of surround, like, the ghostly world.
Well, the mysticism and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fantasy.
Yeah.
So where do you want to get started with this?
Why don't you tell everybody what the plot of the movie is?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, because this might even be on the same line as An American in Paris. There's not a whole lot going on, but we'll jump through it.
Yeah.
So, this film opens in 1950s Japan. University professor Tatsuo and his two daughters, Satsuke and Mei, move into an old house to be closer to the hospital where the girl's mother, Yasuko, is recovering from a long-term illness. And when they arrive, they discover the house is inhabited by tiny creatures called Susuwatari, small, dark, dust-like house spirits seen when moving from light to dark places. And this is a movie that just out the gate shows that we're basically in a fantasy world, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even the adults are very much into, this house is haunted. Who wouldn't want to live in a haunted house? So it's very, okay, we're not like, oh, it's gonna scare you living in a haunted house. It's encouraged that there's spirits surrounding the house.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of Kiki's Delivery Service, where our main character is a witch, and in this, you see that the adults, everybody is aware that there's a fantasy element to everything. And I kind of like that in these kind of movies.
Yeah, it's not just the kids seeing it, the adults encourage it.
Yeah.
They feel sorry that they don't see it anymore themselves.
I really just like the opening to this because it's very cute, but it also has this really grounded element. They're moving out of the country because their mom's, I guess, maybe not dying, but very ill.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a really interesting opening. I do like it
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of sets up the two worlds, and it really gives in that, oh, these kids are on the edge of the forest where there's more fantasy stuff ahead, which
that
is
and
nice.
And anytime you get to see Miyazaki landscapes,
They're really pretty.
I mean, it's just so comforting, you know, just watching them travel through like the rice fields and the forest, and it's just like, just put some, you know, lo-fi music over that. I'll just sit and chill and, you know, fall asleep to that. It's just beautiful.
That's called lo-fi YouTube.
Yes, which I enjoy.
But as it goes, the next we see, the girls become more comfortable in their new home, and the suit spirits leave to find another empty house to reside in. And then one day, Mei discovers two small spirits who lead her into the hollow tree outside the home. And she befriends a large spirit which identifies itself by a series of roars, and she interprets as Totoro. She falls asleep atop Totoro, but when Satsuke finds her, she's on the ground. Despite many attempts, Mei is unable to show her family Totoro's tree. Tatsuo comforts her by telling her that Totoro will reveal himself when he wants to. So now we get the main character.
Yeah.
Right? The one that's on all the cover art.
The one that is the logo of Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
And he's absolutely adorable.
He's a big old teddy bear.
He is, and I love seeing, like, the medium and the small, you know, Totoro that we get before we actually meet King Totoro himself.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, cute to see that interaction with them, you know, picking up their acorns and trying to take them back to basically the rabbit hole, and Mei is just like, you know what? YOLO, I'm gonna follow you guys and jump down the rabbit hole.
I don't think that she really was like YOLO. It was, I'm 5 and I'm going to keep going.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting because this is where the plot of the movie really starts, right?
Yeah.
The kids are now seeing, oh, there's this fantasy world right on the other side of this reality, and we're going to explore, and it's going to be fun, and ooh, whimsy, right?
Yeah.
And I do like Totoro because he seems perfect for these kind of kid-like fantasy stories. He's literally this, oh, he's the monster, but he's not really a monster, you know? Oh, he's friendly. It's like where the wild things are.
Yeah.
I don't know, I really like the character design of him, too. It's really striking, and it looks really nice, you know?
That, and just about, you know, everywhere you go, you see some variation of him. He's very popular.
Yeah.
You go to the mall, you see him. He even makes a cameo in Toy Story 3. And,
oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of fascinating to see how much he's evolved, because, you know, before I even got into, like, the Studio Ghibli movies, I knew about Totoro.
Yeah.
I recognized him.
Is this the most popular, or is it Spirited Away the most popular?
Movie-wise or character-wise?
Movie-wise.
I don't know. I think Spirited Away is probably the most renowned because of all, you know, the awards that it's won.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, character-wise, everyone knows Totoro.
It's one of those things you might not know what he's from, but you've seen that image somewhere.
I mean, I know a lot of people that, you know, at least have a Totoro tattoo on them. And
really?
It's just like, huh. I'm like, he really made this much of an impact, and then seeing the movie myself, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I can see why. He's, you know, a big teddy bear.
It's one of those things where this is probably one of those movies that hits just right when you're really young.
Yeah.
It might just be a thing where I'm a jaded old man at this point, but I liked the movie, but I don't know. I don't know how great the movie is. It's good, but getting a tattoo of Totoro on your arm, like, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think it's kind of the equivalent of someone growing up with the Peanuts gang. Snoopy doesn't talk, but he's cute. He's, you know, he steals the scene whenever he's in it. So it's like, sure, I'll get a Snoopy tattoo on myself because it reminds me of my childhood.
I mean, one thing that reminded me a lot of, you know, the childhood or the imagery of this movie is the next scene. I guess the next big sequence where it's a rainy night, and the girls are waiting for Tatsuo's bus to show up.
Because he forgets his umbrella, and the good daughters that they are, I mean, damn, you're gonna run down to the bus stop and wait for your dad.
And bring a little umbrella. It's
yeah.
gonna be so cute. But while they're waiting, Mai falls asleep, and Satsuki's there, and waiting. And Totoro appears next to her. The first time Satsuki's ever seen her. And Totoro's holding a little leaf over his head. And Satsuki's like, well, here's an umbrella. And then it's that iconic image of this movie where it's the little girls and it's Totoro and he's holding the umbrella and they're at the bus stop.
Yeah.
And I never knew the context of, like, where is that image from, but I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's where it is. And it is also interesting because once Satsuki offers the umbrella to Totoro, you know, he's delighted, and he gives her, you know, nuts and seeds, you know, in return. And then this giant cat-shaped bus appears and sweeps Totoro off into the distance.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, why the seeds and nuts? And I don't know where I'm going with this. I know that image, that's cool. And then it's the rest of the scene plays out. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, there's more to this than that one image. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, when we finally got to that scene,
a cat bus in this, basically.
You didn't know about the cat bus?
I didn't know about the cat bus.
I knew about the cat bus.
Why did you know about the cat bus?
Because I see a lot of pictures on the internet. I see, you know, I've seen the cat bus, and I was like, well, what's the context of that? And I'm like, okay, cool, cat bus.
Cat bus.
It's like, I love cats. You got a cat that is a bus that can basically take you anywhere. I'm like, all right, that's pretty awesome.
It's a cat bus.
Yeah. So, like you, I had seen that picture before of the three of them at the bus stop. I did want to know the context behind it, and once we finally got there, I'm like, oh, cool, this is Satsuki's first, you know, interaction with Totoro, because she's kind of jealous of her younger sister, Mei, who meets Totoro first and befriends him, and she, you know, tells her dad, well, I want to meet him too, and he's telling her, you have to wait, you know, the spirits of the forest may reveal themselves if they want you to see them. And finally, he reveals himself waiting for the bus. Because apparently cat bus and local standard buses show up at the same stops.
It's the same line, right?
I guess so. So I guess I gotta start taking the bus again.
It'll be great. Don't get on any that have a cat on them. Those are probably not actually buses.
But it might be a really great adventure.
No, if the man says there's an Xbox and candy in the back of the bus, don't get in the bus.
Well, no, if he tells me that, you know, of course not. If he tells me, you know, I got a box of kittens, I might have to roll that dice.
It's over. It's over. But, as it goes, a few days after this, the daughters plant the seeds, and the girls awaken at midnight to find Totoro and the rest of the spirits of the forest engaging in a ceremonial dance around the planted seeds. And the girls join in. And the seeds grow into this giant, enormous tree, and Totoro takes the girls for a ride on a magical flying top. And oh, the whimsy. The fucking whimsy. And then the next morning, the trees disappeared, but now the seeds have sprouted. The fucking whimsy.
If I need to do that spiritual dance to get my plants to grow, I'll do it. I'll jump over the planters, whatever I can to make my plants bountiful, I'll do it.
I mean, it's a striking sequence, I'll tell you. I like the animation in that, I like how the characters move, but...
And the fact that he's still holding onto the umbrella.
Yeah, a really nice character thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just watching it, what's going through my head is, this is where the fantasy shit kicks in, right?
Yeah.
This is where Miyazaki's like, so, I wrote this part of the script with some shrooms going. Check this shit out.
Well, I was trying to keep this episode kid-friendly, but...
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna... That's why I used YOLO instead of fuck it. But we're here, so...
Come on.
It's gone. It's out of our hands now, so...
Exactly.
Yes, it's very whimsical. I really liked your comparison to Alice in Wonderland, because... Yeah, this is basically Alice in Wonderland for these two girls that have just moved out into the country and have found cool friends that their parents can't see.
I do think that this movie is definitely taking inspiration from Alice in Wonderland. Like, I don't know if it's a lot or a little, but it's definitely taking inspiration from Alice in Wonderland. And this is the scene that's probably the most apparent of it, and I think it does it well. It
does. I mean, it's entertaining, it's... fun to see. I mean, the spirits don't talk.
No.
Totoro growls. And
he roars.
He roars. And, I mean, even with that, it's like, you don't need him to talk. Because it's entertaining enough to see, you know, just how he operates as a ghost. How he sits, above the trees, how they play music at night. I mean, even to the fact where the girl's father, when he's working in his office, he hears the music play, and he doesn't question it. He just smiles and continues to work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to see that the spirits and the actual people of this town just kind of coexist without not even being too aware of each other.
I do like the fact that there is just that acknowledgement that, there's this fantasy world just in the forest, but we're in the human world. We don't do that. It's a nice touch. But as it goes, we get to the final big plot point of the movie. See, this movie's not that long, and that is when the girls find out that a planned visit to their mother has been postponed because of a setback in her treatment. Mei does not take this well and argues with her sister, Satsuke, and leaves for the hospital to bring fresh corn to their mother. So nice. So nice.
Yes.
But she disappears, prompting Satsuki and her neighbors to search for her. Desperately, Satsuki returns to the tree and pleads for Totoro's help. Delighted to help, he summons the cat bus. Yes, the cat bus. You know about the cat bus, right?
I do.
I know. We're getting on the cat bus.
I'd like to.
And it carries her to where the lost Mai sits. And the sisters emotionally reunite. So cute. With the cat bus. And the bus whisks them back to the countryside to see their mother in the hospital. And the girls overhear a conversation between their parents and discover that she has been kept in hospital by a minor cold, but is otherwise doing well. Mm-hmm. It's so nice. And they secretly leave the corn on the windowsill, where their parents discover it and return home.
Where they wrote in a note for our mother on the husk of the corn.
Oh, so cute.
And even their mom says, I could have swore I just saw our girls sitting in a tree, which they were with the cat bus. And they wouldn't have seen the cat bus because adults can't see the spirits anymore.
Right. That means she's dying, right?
No.
This is a Sixth Sense situation, right?
No. I mean,
such a Sixth Sense
believe
situation.
me, the whole time I watched this movie, I was just back in my head like, oh God, please don't let the mom die. I'm like, that's going to be so tragic.
Oh, I should probably spoil that. Yes, the mother does return home, and the girls play with them, and it's so adorable. And Totoro and his friends watch them from, the forest. So, the mother lives.
Yes.
See, unlike the Disney movies, Miyazaki does not kill the parents in the opening act of the movie.
No. Did I have a, that little, bit in my throat, like, oh my God, please, my heart, I had to push it down, like, it's okay, it's all right.
That's what he's gonna do. Miyazaki's gonna ghost the parents in the last 5 minutes.
I mean, he even gets you with when they find the sandal in the water, when Mei's missing.
That's where I got. I thought it was gonna be a thing where, does Mei die? Is that where we're going with this?
I'm like, are we kind of going like the Romeo and Juliet way, where this bit of information, sends off this catastrophe where people die when they don't have to die? I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, watch, the mom's gonna be okay and Mei's gonna die and it's just gonna ruin the family. I
thought it was gonna be a thing where, Totoro isn't a kind spirit. He's like the Pied Piper trying to pull these children into the spirit realm. Right? And it's like, he fucking killed mine. Oh my God. That happened. I was sitting there, I sat up, grabbed the popcorn, I was like, oh, this shit's getting good. Oh, this is where it gets weird. And then, no, it plays out like a fun family movie. But, that moment where it's like, wait, is the little girl gone? Is she dead? What's happening? That kind of got me. I will say that was good filmmaking.
It was. So, I mean, for it being a more simpler movie, it still had its plot points where I was like, oh my God.
Is this where they're getting me?
Yeah, I was like, are you waiting towards the end just to, kind of hit us with that shock? But it was just like, no, everything ended well. They got to hear their parents talk, and it was just, the doctors are blowing it out of proportion, they're keeping me here, and it's like all of this based off of a telegram that we receive at the house. And Satsuki just freaks out and like, oh my God, there's something wrong with her. Oh, and it's just like, no, she can't come home this weekend, but she could come home next weekend.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing where this movie is definitely taking place from the child perspective, and it's, mom's sick, then she's horribly ill.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of dust in the house. Oh, then they're little dust spirits. Or, it's a lot of things in this movie where I really like it because it's so in this perspective of a child. And it's a really nice kids movie. It's just a nice movie.
And we also get some of the Miyazaki food in this movie.
You have a fucking problem.
I don't care. We get the bento box. And you shouldn't care either because you love sardines, and there's one big sardine on that. You know you would love that.
I just like the fact that Boo watches these Miyazaki films, not for like, oh, the great story, the wonderful character design, the food. How Miyazaki draws food.
The landscapes, the food, and the music.
That's what you're here for. That's why you show up to the theater.
Yes. And I mean, you can't really argue with me that the music in Miyazaki films are amazing.
The music is very good. There's a reason a lot of people call him, the Japanese Disney.
Yeah.
Because he's making these movies and they just seem so... I don't even know how to describe them. They're just so nice.
They're dreamlike.
Yeah, they have a lot of dreamy qualities to them. It really feels like they're in touch with a very inner child. And I don't know. I don't really know how to go from there.
Yeah, because I mean, I'd heard the score to My Neighbor Totoro, or at least like the main theme for Totoro. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was beautiful. And then seeing it with the movie, it's like,
it pairs so well.
It pairs very well. Prior to that, it was me kind of imagining what the movie was about. But after seeing it with the film, it's like, oh yeah, these things go hand in hand. It's almost real, this dream that this movie portrays. It feels like a real kind of place.
Yeah, I mean...
Even though it's not, but...
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was just like, I mean... Nah, this is a little bit too fantastical even for me to say this is real. But it leans into that fantasy element, and I really do like it that it feels like, oh, there's kind of a grounded reality, and the fantasy elements is very much up for the kids, and I do like it.
It's kind of like The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of brings us to I guess not the end of this, because there's still a little bit more to talk about, but... Yeah. Is there anything more you wanted to go over about the film, or do you want to talk about the film more broadly in general? Do you have a couple things you want to get out of the system before we hit the end?
I think, maybe we should talk about our feelings on the film, because I know you love Spirited Away. That was the movie that you brought to the podcast when we had our anime month.
Yeah. Well, I brought Perfect Blue and Spirited Away. Yeah. But this, I could say I liked it. It was a nice movie. It wasn't great. It was good. Mm. I would be totally fine showing this to a kid, and it would probably be their favorite movie. Yeah. For me, I thought it was fine. I liked it. There wasn't anything I disliked about it. Other than it felt like the film was very, thin is a bad word. Just, there wasn't a lot to chew on, I guess.
We could go with it was light.
Yeah, I guess. It was a light. The plot, it was a little plot light. There was a lot of good visuals, a lot of fun character stuff. I dug it enough, but I probably wouldn't say it's my favorite. But I liked it.
Granny was pretty cool.
Huh?
Granny was pretty cool.
Yeah, Granny was fun. I also Cat Bus.
Cat Bus.
I'm gonna keep going back to fucking Cat Bus.
We should probably do like a marker of how many times to say Cat Bus in this episode.
I'm gonna go with like 43 before edits.
Okay.
So there you go. But what did you think about it? Because you brought this to the table. You'd never seen it before.
No, never seen it.
No context, no nothing. So how did you like it?
I really liked it.
Really liked it?
Yeah. I agree. It's a little light, plot-wise. But I think it works. You briefly see the mom in the hospital, but you really get to see the relationship between father and daughters. And the fact that he just encourages his children to be children and to dream and to explore.
To be kids.
And I love that. He even, brings up that Satsuki is acting, older than her age because she feels like, hey, mom's not here. I got to step up and be, the one in charge. But he still kind of pushes them to go out and be kids and discover and explore. And it's just a fun movie.
It is. It is a fun movie. But Boo, you have any trivia you want to throw out? Because I know you got a lot of them. Give me one. Give me your one best trivia point.
Give you my best one.
Your best one trivia. Because I know you love doing all the research for your trivia posts.
I do. So, character Mei.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be a two-parter.
Two-part trivia post?
Two-part trivia.
Always trying to find the edge.
I always have to find a loophole. So, our sisters in this movie, Satsuke and Mei,
yes,
was originally supposed to be one girl.
Really?
It was supposed to be the story of this one girl, but when they were kind of writing it and working it, they were really seeing that it's more two people in this one body, so they split them, even down to the age. They kind of did the math and were like, okay, well, we're gonna do this and make them this age and this age. So that's how we get Satsuki and Mei. Mm-hmm. And then to go back to Mei, Mei in Japanese means sprout.
Oh.
And sprout is a big point, because they're trying to get the acorns to sprout.
Acorns to sprout, the growing. There's a lot of imagery of plants growing. And
it's also them growing up, too, because this is their new home. It goes from kind of not really knowing the lay of the land to now, this is our home. We now have these friends in the forest. And it's going to be a sad day, when they grow up and they can't see their friends anymore. But that's just how life progresses. And Mei Mei means little sister in Chinese.
Okay.
So, there you go. That is my trivia for My Neighbor Totoro.
Well, all right. And I would say that is some interesting trivia.
Yes.
But with that, everybody, sorry if this is a shorter episode than normal, but it's Thanksgiving time.
It is. It's time to chow down.
We got food waiting. I got a whole half of a turkey and enough stuffing to kill a small dog to eat.
And I'm gonna have mashed potatoes for days. It's glorious.
But with that, Boo, what are we doing next month? Because I know next month is the Christmas month.
The
end times.
The end times, yes. 2021 is coming to an end, which means we're going to be doing our December month. I don't even think we have a theme for it. It's just
Christmas movies, fun movies. It's the end of the year and we got lazy, let's be honest.
Yeah, so Christmas time is going to be a fun time. We're going to be doing our end of the year review. But before that, you're the first pick of the month. And
my pick has superseded all other picks because my pick is the top percentile of picks. We'll be picking Gremlins. And following that, we're going to do Gremlins 2.
That's right. We collabed together and we're going to be doing Gremlins and Gremlins 2 to start the Christmas season because, Gremlins is a great Christmas movie.
It's a lot of fun. And honestly, I have not seen Gremlins in 10 years, maybe more.
I'm probably in the same boat as you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Usually I bring you the pick where I'm like, oh man, I haven't seen this in forever. And you're like, I watch it every year. I write in my diary about this movie every 6 months.
Out of the two of us, you're the one with the diary.
Quiet you. But, yeah, everybody, so tune in for that. We can't wait to talk about it. But if you wanted to catch that, where would you go?
Well, if you want to listen to us on a different platform than you currently are, you can find us on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also YouTube.
Yes, our YouTube channel is called In the Frame. You can find that on YouTube. Just punch it in. We'll be there. And on there you can find this podcast, the Film Club Podcast, as well as our other podcast, the Film Odyssey Podcast. It's ran by me and my brother. We talk about the AFI Top 100 Films of All Time, looking for the best films of all time. Are they still good? Do they hold up? And some of them, spoilers, really do hold up, so come and check those out. But with that, Boo,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And we'll see you next week at the Film Club.
Have a good week.